Assalamualaikum and good day to all of you. I'm Hazrina. I'm going to present my research in relation to students' financial literacy from the perspective of digital financial literacy. And this is a very new concept that has been developed recently. So this is my presentation outline. Start with introduction until conclusion. So let's go to the introduction. Alright, so the issue in Malaysia now is the rise of bankruptcy among younger generation. So this is proven by Malaysian Department of Insolvency Statistics, where around 36,000 Malaysian aged from 18 to 44 were declared bankrupt. Okay, so of course the highest case is in Selangor, and we can relate to the latest news from the Age Malaysia that this group actually they are the highest group that use digital payment. So it seems like there is a relationship between the use of digital payment and bankruptcy level. So this digital payment or electronic transaction, it create additional risk. Why? Because it is easily for them to do the transaction. Okay, they just need to have handphone or an internet connection for them to carry out the financial transaction. Okay, so with the ease of conducting financial transaction and high bankruptcy level, okay, if let's say the individual financial literacy is not at a very good level, even from the perspective of basic or digital, it can pose substantial threat to the individual financial management. Okay, so as a result, it is very important for us now to look at what is the current level of financial literacy of university student. Okay, why? Because at this point of time, they will involve in a lot of financial transaction and they need to manage their own finance. Therefore, the main aim of this study is to determine the degree of financial literacy level for both basic and digital literacy among the student in Selangor. Why Selangor? Because the highest case of bankruptcy is found in. Alright, so for the literature review, let's take a look at the definition of financial literacy. And if we look at this definition, financial literacy actually comprises of two important concepts. First one, that particular person is considered as financial literate if it has the required knowledge and skill. What are the skills? For example, like basic numeracy, fundamental economic concept, risk diversification, and also saving, borrowing, insurance, and investment. Not only they need to have the skill, but also they need to be able to use that skill to make informed financial decision. Then only they are considered as financial literate. So to measure financial literacy, there are of course a lot of studies that has been conducted by the previous researcher. So there are three ways on how financial literacy can be measured. First one is objective measure, okay, where they look at the actual financial knowledge, testing the real question related to the financial knowledge. And the most popular is of course the big three financial literacy question by Lusardi and Michelle. And other than that, other than objective or actual knowledge, some of studies look at the subjective measure. So instead of they test the actual knowledge, they look at the confidence level of that particular individual in terms of their perception. Okay, they self rate their financial knowledge, whether they agree or not agree with the statement in relation to the borrowing and investment. Okay, and this actually reflect that particular respondent financial confidence. Other than that, there are also studies that combine both measures, okay, because they argue that this is more comprehensive, okay, and the objective measure they call it as actual literacy, and subjective measure they call it as perceived literacy or financial confidence. So digital financial literacy is actually a new concept, right? So it is recently arise, okay, due to the mushrooming of online or digital financial product and services. Okay, so in terms of definition, it should comprise both element. Okay, the financial element and also the digital element. Okay, so and Setiawan have a very simple definition of DFL, where it define DFL as financial literacy in digital financial technology, meaning you are literate from the perspective of using like digital financial product and services. So this DFL, actually the concept comprise of a lot of dimension. So but there are only few studies that discuss about the dimension, but there are actually the similarities, and we can conclude that there are three important dimensions that should appear, okay, or should have, okay, in DFL concept. First one is the knowledge, right? So that particular person must have the knowledge, which is information related to digital financial good and service, meaning they know about, for example, e-wallet and so on, okay. And then other than that, not only knowing about that, they have experience, or they know how to use that particular tools, okay, or digital financial good and services, right? And another important element in DFL is that this person must have the element of self-defense, meaning they should be able to know what are the risks in relation to digital financial product and services, and also to also know what are the self-protection mechanism that they can apply. For example, having a PIN number and so on, right? So these are the three most important dimension of DFL. Okay, and then there are actually limited studies on DFL, okay, where one of the study is India, where it looks at the influence of DFL on India's financial inclusion. And then in Indonesia, actually they look at the relationship between DFL and financial management behavior, right? And they use actually the subjective measure, okay, to measure the digital financial literacy by asking a few questions, and they will self-rate their knowledge about the. So this is the research, our research methodology, where we distribute questionnaires, and there are 184 response for the analysis. Okay, and then we distribute it to the students in Selangor, and the duration is in March to August 2021, right? So this three section questionnaire comprise of section A, which asks the information about demography, and section B asks the information about financial literacy, and we look at from both perspective, objective and subjective perceptions, that we have comprehensive measure of financial literacy. And other than that, we also include the latest element of financial literacy, which is DFL, where we use the 5 questions that covered the 3 dimensions that has been explained just now. So this is the result of the study. Okay, from the descriptive statistic, we can see that a lot of female respondent as compared to male. Okay, and most of them are from bachelor degree level of study. So in terms of financial literacy score, we can say that the score is at a very good level, because around 1/3 of them, which is 31%, is able to answer all the 5 financial literacy questions correctly. Okay, so that's why they get 5 marks here. And in terms of financial confidence, okay, the score is quite okay, above average, and quite high, which is 3.16. Okay, and of course, they have the very good knowledge on the making priority list for the consumption, and in relation to the advanced knowledge, this is the lowest score that they get, right? But if we compare the FLC score and the actual score, it is more or less the same, okay, which is above 3. And in terms of digital financial literacy, we can also say that the mean here is quite high, okay. And for the highest score is in terms of the mechanism, okay. So they know how to protect themselves against the risk, like to have a PIN number and so on, okay. And next one, the experience, okay, which is the practical know-how, okay. So in terms of practical know-how, students have a lot of experience in making digital payment, and also using mobile and internet banking, okay. So this is the second highest score, okay, for digital financial literacy, okay. And then next one, in terms of the awareness and the knowledge, okay. So this actually among the lower score, where we can say that even though they have a lot of experience using and they know how to use, which is using the PIN number, okay, but in terms of the actual knowledge, okay, for digital payment and also the potential risk, it is quite low as compared to other questions. So for the conclusion, we can say that on average, the financial literacy score of the student is very good. Okay, and this is actually measured from all perspective. Okay, not only the actual knowledge, but also the confidence level of the student measured by subjective perception and also the digital literacy. Okay, however, we should be aware that there is a lack of digital financial knowledge and awareness, okay, of the risk related to digital financial product, okay, and this should be viewed as a red flag, okay, because they need to have the knowledge and they need to know the risk, okay, in order to use the digital financial services and products safely, okay. And other than that, we suggest that if let's say we have a financial education framework, we should incorporate this DFL element, okay, to uplift financial literacy level among Malaysian students, because this DFL element is considered very important, especially recently where most financial transaction is conducted online, and a lot of financial technology is used to replace the traditional financial transaction, okay, for example the e-wallet, and then also in terms of to buy things from the online platform, right? So however, of course this study have its limitation in the sense that it just look at the financial literacy level of the student, okay. So the next step is actually to look at what are the important drivers of DFL, what are the factors that can affect DFL, so that we can try to improve the DFL, especially the part of knowledge and also the awareness of the students. All right. So in this case, by looking at this perspective, it can facilitate policymaker to devise the appropriate measure to enhance financial literacy level among Malaysian youth. Okay. So this study actually it looks at overall perspective, okay, of the financial literacy of Malaysian student. Okay, not only from the basic financial literacy, which is the actual knowledge and the financial confidence, but also the digital financial literacy perspective. All right. So with that, thank you very much and thank you for listening.